What is going on, everybody? It is Nidge here from Nidge Players, and welcome to episode number 14 of our Real Betis career mode save. As we always do, I'll tell you first the games that we've got coming up in this episode. Today we have the first game is against Espanyol in the league, the second game is against Malaga in the league, the third game is in the Europa League, the round of 32. I'll tell you who we've got there in just a second. And then the last game of the episode is a game against Bilbao, which is today's crunch game, which we seem to be having in every single episode at the minute. Every episode we seem to be playing one of the teams that's vying for that fourth place spot along with us, and today that doesn't change. Like I said, it's Bilbao in the last game. And like I say, we'll first talk about the Europa League draw. So obviously you know now that we came second in our group. That group was won by who was it now? Who won our group? I can't even remember. Was it? It was some Russian team, I think. I can't remember. Someone like Spartak Moscow. That rings a bell. Maybe Spartak Moscow. I think it was them. But obviously we came second in our group, and that always means that you do face a tougher challenge in the next round if you do, obviously, for coming second. And we actually get Borussia Dortmund. I don't think there were many tougher draws than that available, but yeah, Dortmund are the team that we got in that round of 32. And first we'll talk about some of the gameplay that we've got going on in the background. You've just seen us go 1-0 up here against Espanyol. It was a really tough game, actually. One of those where we probably weren't at our best. Look at this here. Great save from their keeper after I just drilled that across with Origi. But yeah, we weren't at our best. They were doing quite well, but we still managed to scrape through and get the win in the end. We do pull this one through 1-0, but like I said, it was by no means a cruise. You'll see we do come close a few times, but on the shot count you'll see there it's a pretty tight affair. They did have a lot of good patches in that game. But going to real life football, as we always like to talk about in these commentaries, I think the only real story that's been about today / last night is about Frank Lampard. Obviously he's left Chelsea. We discussed that before when we were talking about Drogba going to Chelsea and why didn't they keep Lampard, and he could have done a coaching role thing as well. But it's now emerging that it looks like it's possible that it could be loaned to Man City, which will be interesting to see. But he's also said that if he does go to Man City, which is looking like will be the case, that he won't play against Chelsea, which I thought was a bit strange. I mean, if you play for a team, you're paid by that team, you play against who you're told to play against, as far as I'm concerned. So bit bad that he said that. You can see why he has said it, obviously, because he's been at Chelsea for God knows how long now, probably about 13 years, and a real legend there. And there's nothing I don't think that people respect more in football than a player that's very loyal. And it is nice to see that Lampard has been, like, I don't know, I say it's nice to see that he's been loved so well by the Chelsea fans, but at the same time, them letting him go is a bit of a shame for him, really, especially so close to the end of his career. But you see in the background we go 1-0 up, and that is Eduardo's first goal for Real Betis. I was really pleased when that went in, because I'm really eager for him not to be a flop if possible. After I spent, he's the only player that we bought in January, and I spent all our budget on him. I'm hoping that he can do a job, and he does have a stonking game in this fixture. Actually, you'll see that later on. But yeah, Lampard to Man City. As a Man City fan, I quite like to see it. Really scrappy goal there in the background, by the way. Really poor, just couldn't clear it. But yeah, as a Man City fan, I'd like to see it. I don't think he'll play much football, but he's the kind of person that's got a really good personality, and he'd be good to have in the dressing room just because he's got that winning mentality. But yeah, it's not something that I'd be. I mean, a lot of people are saying, why do you bring him in? He's old, he's not better than what you've got. But especially, one of my friends earlier mentioned actually about the African Cup of Nations coming around. I should explain actually before I carry on. You'll see it's 2-1 to Malaga there, but you only saw the one Malaga goal. That is because of the footage got a bit corrupted, so I apologise for that. It wasn't anything special, the goal, it was just a normal FIFA goal. I actually think it was a corner, but sorry that I couldn't show you that. Like I said, it all corrupted a little bit. But you see here, we do get a dodgy penalty there. I just tried to square it in the end because he was losing control of the ball. But we obviously do stick Eduardo on it, the new signing. Got to get him as many goals as we can, and he pops it into the left-hand corner. So 2-2 now at this point, so now 2 goals for Eduardo, which was good to see. But yeah, what was I talking about there? I can't even remember anymore. Going off topic, I always forget what I'm talking about. But before I try and pick it up, Eduardo for the chance for the hat-trick, and he takes it. Eduardo hat-trick in his second competitive fixture for the club, so that was really good to see. Our second or third, actually, it could be his third, but yeah, hat-trick hero, really good to see. That's what they brought him in for. 3 really clinical finishes, well, 2, I suppose the penalty you can't really count as a clinical finish, but both the other goals were finessed into the corner, and that's what we've been missing, that killer instinct in front of goal. So it was nice to see him do that, and especially in such a close game as well. He proves to be the match winner because it does finish 3-2, and like I say, it was just good to see that he was coming up good, and I knew he had the potential to be good for us, so hopefully he can repeat how he has been in this game more often. But Yeah, so that was a 3-2 win, and we are looking quite good at the moment, still sitting in that 4th place. I'll see the table at the end of the episode, but as I was on about before, we've now got Borussia Dortmund, which is always going to be a very, very difficult game in the Europa League, and I still, despite the fact that it's Dortmund, I do play a weakened team, because as I've mentioned before, Europa League is not a priority of mine in this career mode save. I would much rather get that 4th place in the league if that's what it came down to. But that is something that I do want to discuss during this game, because you'll see that Dortmund absolutely plows off the park. A quick look at their team here. Lewandowski's left them. I can't remember where he'd gone to. I think it might have been Chelsea. But you'll see their replacement striker. Is it Diego Costa? No. Is it Wayne Rooney? No. Is it Cesc Fabregas? Yes. Very random. Fabregas being their striker. I know he's played a lot of his football at centre forward for Barcelona, and a lot of people are saying that's where he'll play for Chelsea, just in behind the striker as a centre forward. But I was really surprised to see it. But if I had any doubts about him playing there, that completely got rid of those, because that was a really nice finish from him. And like I say, Dortmund really did play us off the park, and that's what I was going to talk about. Because like I say, in the league we're still in 4th place. It's all going pretty well for us at the moment. We are starting to open up a very small gap between us and 5th, a very, very small gap I should add. But whenever I play the teams around us, sort of your Valencias, your Sociedads, and those kind of teams, and when I play teams like Dortmund, the teams that are up there as far as the league standings go, and the top teams in football, we do really, really struggle. And it does show to me that if we do end up finishing 4th and getting into the Champions League, we do really need to improve this squad, because it's going to be difficult to get in. And one of my studies by Origi, by the way, just came to him and he just couldn't bloody put it in the net. I think it caught me by surprise, to be honest. But look at this, open goal and sliced it wide. But yeah, we really do need to improve the squad. I mean, when you consider that the highest rated player that we've got at the moment, I believe, is 78, maybe 79, that is not good enough to be playing in the Champions League, in my opinion. And you see, we fall to the 3-0 loss. We only had the 1 shot on target, only 3 shots all game. But yeah, we do need to improve the squad greatly, and it'll be interesting to see how much money we do get to spend if we do get 4th place, and even if we get 5th or 6th, just to see how much we'll get to improve the squad. But yeah, that's one thing that has become clear to me throughout this series. Oh, sorry if you heard my phone going off there, put that on silent now. But there's a look at the league table before this clutch game, what does that even mean? Before this crunch game against Athletic Bilbao. As you've known, for the whole series, they've been one of the teams chasing us in that pack for 4th place. And as I'm sure you'll know as well, whenever we've played against the other teams that have been going for the 4th place, we have not done very well at all. Valencia have beaten us twice, Real Sociedad have beaten us twice and drawn with us once, because we played them twice in the Spanish Cup. But whenever we play against these teams, we don't seem to have much luck at all. I can't remember how we got on against Athletic Bilbao in the first time we played them, because we played them very early on. You see as well, Benyat starting this time, which I remember he didn't when we played them last time, the ex-player there, of course. But yeah, we do seem to really struggle. I mean, Valencia absolutely played us off the park once. Real Sociedad have played us off the park twice. And once again, it's just confirmation, like when I was playing the Dortmund game, we need to improve the squad. But once again, as always seems to be the case in these type of games against these other top 4 contenders, we started off really well and then we ended up 1-0 behind. You saw at the start there, we had a couple of decent efforts, but they do take the lead. It's Sousaito, a player that I was looking at in January, but we just didn't have anywhere near enough money for. A player that I really like. You can see from his goal here on the replay. A nice little touch away from the defender, showing his good dribbling, then he just fires it into the far corner, and Adan in goal concedes far too many goals like that, where I think he could perhaps get a finger to it and tip it round the post. And once again, I'll talk about strengthening the squad. He's only a 72 overall, and that is not good enough for getting into the Champions League. But we do pick up where we left off. Like I said, we'd started off well, and we hit the post here, and it's finished really well from Verdu, but he's offside. So we were plucking away. We're going to half-time 1-0 down, but like I said, we were plucking away nicely, and another good effort here from Verdu. We had a decent game in this match, actually. He's been picking up a lot more lately and getting a few more assists this season, but this is the goal to bring it back to 1-1. Really nice move, and it is nodded in by Leo Baptiste, who's not long come back from injury, which is nice to see, because he's a player that's been very key for us. He's our top scorer by far, by a couple of goals, I think. By far, he's in the league. In all competitions, it's by a couple of goals, but in the league, I think he's got 4 more than second best, which is Molina, I think, off the top of my head. But it's nice to see him back, because we do miss him, and Castro should be back pretty soon as well, fingers crossed, within the next game or two. So that'll be nice to see us return back to full complement. But it continues to be a tight game, and then in the 90th minute, we score a corner goal. Unbelievable stuff. We get that 90th minute winner, and finally we managed to win a crunch game against one of our top 4 rivals. And like I said, this has been a really good episode for us, because despite that loss to Dortmund, we've picked up 9 points in the league, which is absolutely fantastic. And you'll see the table after this game. like I mentioned earlier, we are starting to pull a bit of a lead away from 4th, but fingers crossed we can keep up this run. I've been saying from the very start that if we could put together a decent string of results, a few wins in a row, we'd be able to pull a little bit of gap out, and it is exactly what's going on. But first of all, we'll look at the player of the episode, which is going to go to Amaya this week. Another centre-back. We had Paolo in a couple of episodes ago, but he scored that vital goal in that last game we've just seen from the corner in the 90th minute. But not only that, we kept the clean sheet against Espanyol in the first game, in which he played really well. And for that reason, I'm going to give it to him. He's got the 1 goal, the 7.8 rating overall. His key game is obviously the Bilbao game where he got the goal, but purely because he got that goal and he played really well in the clean sheet performance against Espanyol, that's why I'm giving it to him. These are the 2 players that have been impressive, of course, Eduardo with his hat-trick, and Modena, who's picked up a couple of assists as well. But there's the league table. As I mentioned, you can see we are starting to pull out a bit of a gap, which is really nice to see, and hopefully we can continue our good form into the next episode. But thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you're enjoying the series, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a like, comment and subscribe. I'm gaining a few subscribers lately. I'm up to the 20 mark now, so thank you very much for all your support, everybody. I shall see you next time in episode 15. Thank you very much. Nidge out.